Jesse Manduke.
Try again.
Jesse Manduke.
Nope. One more.
Can I just call it Alan? News. Jim Ross has torn Seth Rollins a new one. We have an update on an injured AEW star and which Lucha Underground star is getting a WWE tryout. Find out soon. So earlier this week we talked about comments made by Seth Rollins in which he referred to AEW as the minor leagues. And on a brand new episode of Grillin' JR, Jim Ross got the red ass about this, Adam Pacitti.
JR, not a happy boy at all, making some big statements, which I'll read now, and I quote, Rollins is in a great spot. He's blessed. Maybe someday he'll be over as his girlfriend. I don't know, but nonetheless, I've always liked his work. He's a solid guy. But saying things like that make him look bad, and I feel bad for him. I just do. You feel sorry for the multi-millionaire. Have you not heard? Seth Rollins is a very rich man, JR. He's got more money than you.
Nobody in DuckTales feels sorry for Scrooge McDuck.
I just believe sometimes it's internal. Sometimes they're driven to say what they feel obligated to say. They say things that they think will gain the favour of their bosses. I don't know. So he's basically saying that he's sort of brown-nosing Vince, sort of trying to portray the company in a positive light to protect his spot, I guess?
A little bit, yeah. I think Jim Ross, before this, I listened to Grilling JR like every week. I think it's brilliant. And Grilling JR, the podcast, is excellent fun when Jim Ross has just got off a delayed flight because he's really grumpy. He's got the red ass. And that's what they say on the podcast. He got the red ass. And it was funny because just before this, he was talking about how people... when people listen to what he says on the podcast with regards to AEW and try and make news out of it. Well, ta-da! Worked a treat, mate, because here we are talking about it. I think that I'm glad that he called out Seth on this. I don't know. Some of the stuff he also said in this was quite interesting, where he said that, like, if you say stuff like that, it doesn't devalue AEW. It sort of devalues the business. Like, neither side should be doing it. And I know we quite often get confused with being both WWE and AEW centric. Guy, you can't be both. But it's the whole idea that if you're rubbishing the competition constantly, then you're the one that looks worse off than the other guy.
Yeah, but they both do it, don't they?
They both do it.
And that's what's frustrating. And what annoys me about this whole thing is AEW, they originally said it's just like, hey, we're not competition. We're going to do our own thing. They're going to do their own thing, and that's fine. And then the next minute, Cody's smashing up Triple H's throne or whatever. And there's been constant shots back and forth, like Jericho in his promos made some like the We the People thing and saying that was crap.
There was one on Wednesday about the invisible wall.
Right, yeah.
Saying, I'm going to cross this invisible wall that we're not meant to be and come up and see it. So it's like, it just seems like, stop it. Just be all pals at the palace. To quote the great Nanny Doris. Good news, it's a pull. Not my words, the words of a very successful Tinder applicant. And the words of Luchasaurus's Dr. Adam Pacitti.
That's right, so it was reported a couple of weeks ago that Luchasaurus had been injured, that he had a hamstring, either pull or tear. As you say, the good news is that it's a pull.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be out for as long as perhaps we imagine he might be. If it had been a tear, he could have been out for 6 to 8 months. This case, we're looking at a few weeks, maybe a couple of months tops. So very, very good news.
He's going to have his foot up for a couple of weeks, rest his tail, watch Jurassic Park, and he'll be back to normal. This only happened about a couple of hours before Dynamite, before the match.
Because he was meant to be in the tag match, wasn't he?
Yeah, about a week ago. And so they had to change the whole match, and that was when Marco Stunt was put in instead. And what annoys me is a load of people have got on the case of Marco Stunt in that match, saying that, it's not a believable wrestler. The tag team partner of a dinosaur isn't a believable wrestler. Imagine that. So it was a very late development, this. So I'm really happy that it's only going to be a short time away for Luchasaurus, because he's got a massive upside in AEW.
Oh, totally.
Massive.
Totally. Very, very charismatic guy. I really like the gimmick as well. And you know what? The increased exposure from Marco Stunt, I actually think is a good thing. I really like Marco Stunt. I think he's great. The size thing doesn't bother me. I like Rey Mysterio. I prefer smaller guys generally, and I know he's a lot smaller than other guys. And hey, it's not believable or whatever. I just don't believe that.
It's wrestling.
Yeah,
it's believable.
And I think it's his style of offense or his strategy plays into the matches and makes it believable. As long as it's booked properly, as long as he's not just knocking people outside, it just doesn't bother me at all.
That's it. The way that people were going on was like, I'm sorry, did I miss the bit where he chokeslammed everybody?
Exactly. He needs to outsmart his opponents, use his size to his advantage. That's been like small man wrestling for a long time. So yeah, I'm glad that Marco Stunt got that increased exposure, and I hope that he continues to get increased exposure. Not just because it'll piss lots and lots of people off, and I'm all for that.
And if you're missing Luchasaurus on your TV right now, check out the YouTube archives for Cultaholic. You can watch Straight to Hell, Ross Twiddell, and Luchasaurus having a lovely chat about things that Luchasaurus hates in wrestling. One of them isn't people who dislike Marco Stunt, so you get off lightly on that one, you sucker. So Orton, Dawson and Wilder are playing Twitter silly buggers once again. Scott Dawson posted a tweet with a picture of their final house show match saying, "What should have been, see you down the road, Randy Orton." Of course, the Revival are SmackDown bound, Orton is Raw bound, and that is the end of FTRKO, which is a weird name for a team.
For the Revival, Keith Orton.
For the that famous member of the Keith Orton family, Revival. Wilder chimed in on this and said the mills are turning on the rumour mill, saying what will be eventually. Winky face, winky face, winky face. Hashtag our contracts are expired in 2020. They didn't say that bit. I've added that bit for colour. But once again, it's Randy Orton, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder talking about moving over to the other side. But mind you, the Revival are the ones that started the whole we're coming to AEW thing in the first place. If like you go back long before the inception of AEW, you have those Being the Elite videos where they would constantly, FTR. I'm not going to say it on this video, it might get demonetized. But yeah, so they've started this a long time ago, and the idea of those three, that triumvirate turning up in AEW is hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like they are genuinely like good buddies behind the scenes, and I think they're all just having a laugh. But it reflects so poorly on WWE, this stuff. Like, I almost said I feel for WWE. I don't feel for WWE at all.
That poor multi-million-dollar company that hit 5 bajillion followers on YouTube last night. Well done, lads.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got the algorithm excited.
Throw some traffic our way, please. Congratulations to them for that. I don't know. I just feel. I feel like it happens so often, this sort of trolling, and I actually don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they're going to throw them lots and lots of money, and I think the Revival's going to stay, and I don't see Randy Orton ever going to AEW.
No.
He's just such a WWE guy.
He is so, I don't think AEW would accept that slow ground and pound offense from Randy Orton. It wouldn't suit that brand, I don't think.
That said, DDP's about to get back in the ring by the looks of it, so...
Come on in, Randy, all is forgiven.
He'll put the effort in, though.
Yeah.
10 times more than Randall, that's for sure.
He's going to be so pliant these days, what with all that yoga. Former Lucha Underground star, part of AEW previously as well, and former Tough Enough contestant in the news today, Adam Pacitti in Ivelisse.
That's right, Ivelisse getting a tryout with the WWE. We had Ivelisse over for WCPW show. She was really, really great. Had a great match with Tegan Knox, then Nixon Newell. And yeah, I think she's very, very talented. She's got a super stiff style. Bit of a brawler.
Well, that was what turned her off the WWE originally. I don't know whether you remember that first series of Tough Enough. And it was Steve Austin and co who said, you need to stop wrestling like a man.
Right,
You need to start wrestling more like a diva.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Well, times have changed.
Exactly.
So that's good. And I think she'd be a really good fit. You've got WWE superstars with the MMA experience. You've got like Shayna Baszler, you've got Sonya Deville, who's got a fighting sort of gimmick as well. And I think she'd be a really great fit for the women's division now. She's really talented.
I'd like to see her mix it up with some sort of really heavy striking matches with Jessamine Duke.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No.
Damn. You may have noticed I'm wearing my new favourite wrestling t-shirt today.
You may have noticed I'm dressed as regular legs once again.
This ain't just thrown together, honey. Rick and Morty are all elite, Adam Pacitti.
Yeah.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Yeah, we don't really know what this means, but AEW tweeted yesterday, spoiler, fans attending this Wednesday in Charleston, for the Halloween AEW will receive Rick and Morty masks. Woohoo!
Oh, man.
As long as you take your WWE masks off, you get replaced with one. Yeah, there you go. I don't know what this means. They've obviously sub-sponsorship deal, I guess.
I'm so hoping. Well, it's not because it's Turner who own TNT, and Turner own Adult Swim, and that is where Rick and Morty is on.
Yeah,
so there is
sure.
a nice bit of cross promo, but I'm kind of hoping that we also get like. And I know this is going to upset so many people. There were people back in the 90s who got upset when Chucky turned up in WCW that are going to cringe at this.
That was bad. That was bad.
I want a Rick and Morty bit on the big screen.
Yeah,
I want Rick and Morty just running down like the inner circle or something.
Yeah, that's
I
right. Yeah.
really do.
And I think we'll get that as well. I think the fact that they've teased it, it's not just going to be some on-screen graphic. They'll have pre-recorded some stuff.
Oh,
they'll
gosh,
have animated some nonsense.
I was
You're a fan. You're a fan. Obviously, you get the t-shirt.
I just found this in a bin. But I was hoping something similar would have happened on Friday Night SmackDown by now. Like when they were doing the draft, I was hoping that Peter Griffin would be one of the people that goes, we'll take Becky Lynch.
What does Peter Griffin have to do with it? You're just a fan.
No, I just know, because I would have thought that because they would have used the collaboration of having
the Fox
thing on
okay.
SmackDown to have had Family Guy turn up to announce a draft pick. Because the talk for a while was Fox representative will do the draft picks. So I was like, oh my God, get Peter Griffin to do a draft pick.
The problem with that idea is it would have taken the focus away from Stephanie McMahon, and that is not going to happen, Thomas.
That is
not going to happen.
Sadly true. Looking forward to seeing Rick and Morty next week. If Rick and Morty's on Dynamite next week, I think NXT is lost. All is lost. Again.
It appears they are, the ratings.
Oh. Ooh. I think we're plateauing. It's all right. It's all right.
I hope so.
One more time. I'm going to try one more time. Jessamine Duke.
You suck. You suck.
Fine!
You suck.
Have a lovely weekend. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.